So, yeah, I'm cold too. We'll push through it. I can't feel my fingers, but it's okay. So, what are you going to be when you grow up? What are you going to do with your life? These are questions that young people are asked a lot. Seriously, if I could have $1 every time I was asked those questions, I'd be rich. And when I do answer those questions with my genuine dreams, I want to run for office, I want to be president, there's always that if in the back of my mind. If climate change hasn't completely destroyed society as we know it, if rule my life, if that part of the world isn't uninhabitable by the time I'm an adult, I'd like to visit it. If the coral reefs are still there, I want to see them. The world is crumbling and my generation is left with so many ifs. And yet here we are, in a place where leaders have the power to create solutions. If the politicians in this capital all came together and made the demands of the youth here today a reality, my generation and all future generations would have a lot less ifs. So what do we, the youth, need from our leaders in order to have a livable future? Well, the first step to getting out of a hole is to stop digging. Right now, literally stop digging for fossil fuels. Right now, the carbon levels in our atmosphere are extremely unhealthy level and deadly for our Earth. We're at about 410 parts per million of carbon in our atmosphere. To give you some context of how bad that is, the original healthy level of carbon in our atmosphere that humans evolved to live in and were built to live in was 280 parts per million. 280 to 410. That's how deep of a hole we are in right now. And scientists say that in order for civilization as we know it to be able to continue, we need to get levels down to 350 parts per million by the end of the century, which means lowering them by 10% each year starting now. Seems daunting, so how do we get there? Like I said, stop digging. Literally stop digging for fossil fuels. The legislators in this very capital have the ability to sponsor and pass legislation that halts all new fossil fuel infrastructure, period. That means no Tacoma liquid natural gas facility, no fossil fuel anything. There's no such thing as a transition fuel. You can just go straight to renewable energy. That's a fossil fuel fantasy. We have to transition the Washington state economy to running on 100% renewables by 2028. That's one of the demands of our youth. 2028. That means in 10 years. In order to have a shot at getting out of this crisis, we have to stop relying on the energy that has gotten us into this problem in the first place. The technology is all there. The solar and wind energy industry is rapidly advancing and growing, and renewable energy is becoming even cheaper than fossil fuels. We are still using the same energy source we've been using for hundreds of years. Imagine if we were using the same transportation system or the same phones that we used 100 years ago. That would be crazy, right? Why stick to a horse and buggy and a telegraph when we can have cars and iPhones? It's the same with energy. Why stick to fossil fuels when we can have renewable energy? So it's the leaders right here in this capital's responsibility to get this state not to 80, not to 90, but 100% renewable energy in 10 years. We kids are doing everything we can to fight for a better world. We came out here in the cold, my fingers are freezing off, but we're here because we believe in this cause. I am proud to be a plaintiff on the Washington State Our Children's Trust Youth Week Of lawsuit that was just filed. And I'm also proud to have founded 0 Hour, a new youth-led and centered organization putting on a student lobby day and youth march this July in DC. But the youth can only do so much by ourselves. We need the people empowered to do the right thing because we are at a critical point in history, a tipping point, where the leaders today have an immense responsibility of deciding just how much young and future generations are going to suffer from the climate crisis. It's crucial for the leaders right here in this capital to take rapid and strong action and listen to the youth of this state for the sake of their children and their children's children. Thank you.